If you're starting a real estate team, my gosh, it can be hard. It is difficult. It is overwhelming. It is stressful. It is all the things that are so awesome and so hard and difficult and challenging at the same time. And I'm here to help you through all of it as I've gone through this rodeo a time or 12. Gang, my name's Eric Hatch. I'm with Hatch Broker by Real. I'm at Hatch Coaching. I put my name on everything. And so if we talk long enough, I might just start calling you Hatch as well. Regardless of all this, I want to take my opportunity here to help you launch and or perfect your real estate team. I have been in the real estate space for 18 and a half years. I've been leading a team for 2/3 of that, if not more so. I've coached my team to do some great things and hit great heights. I've coached some of the top real estate teams from around the country and continue to do so today. And I'm here to help you rock and roll with your team. And so I'm going to jump back and forth from a slideshow. I want to encourage you to take some screenshots. I want to encourage you to take some notes and actively go after the stuff that we're bringing in front of you. I'm not going to dilly-dally too long. I'm going to jump right to it here. So gang, get ready, buckle up. Here we go. I say, here we go. And now I got there. Okay. We are talking about the 10 things that you need to know when starting a team. It is so important that you get these things dialed in. But first, a little bit about me, okay? I've been on the journey of real estate for almost 19 years, and I've lived in a lot of different areas. In my prime, in my height, I sold a lot of houses. I was selling over 150 houses myself, no DocuSign, no showing partner, just myself. And I did that for a few years. And then I was like, man, I really want to have this team that hopefully makes me money and gets me time back. And it's taken an awful lot, but now I work probably 30 minutes a week on my team, and that's just in marketing. So it's a really small smidge of stuff that I'm doing for my team now, and I've gone through a lot of learned lessons along the way. So whether it be losing lots of money or making lots of money or anything in between, I put this in front of you, hopefully, so you understand that where you are, I maybe have already been. I've gone through that. And although our journeys are going to be different, we'll hopefully have some shared experiences. So I have to ask this question is, why do you want a real estate team? It's so important that we actually talk about this before we go too far. Why do you want a real estate team? Most people want a real estate team for two reasons. They want time and they want money. And both are great reasons to want a real estate team. Sometimes, though, and most of the time, a real estate team doesn't actually get you more money. It costs you. And it doesn't get you time back. It costs you time. So if you're going to play the long game, the really long game, there are some really super duper wins we can set you up for. But realistically, if you are like, I want to help my clients, I want to have more time with my family, I want to help new agents to find great success, those are all wonderful reasons to get into having a team. But understand that it is hard before it's easy. And I want to be really clear with you. I don't think most people should have a real estate team. Maybe you're on the cusp of it right now. And if you do choose to go down that path, I have a model that should work for like 95% of people. And I'll share that with you here. If you aren't on that path right now, or if you aren't fully committed, might I talk you out of it? Because there's only 5% of people roughly that should go to have a medium or a mega team. And most people should have a small team or no team at all. I'll give you all that inside scanning because my goal here is to help you to have a really fulfilled real estate career, that you love what you're doing. You love who you work with. You're excited to go to work. You're making a ton of cash. You are not a slave to the business, and you have massive boundaries and people that you get to impact all the time. If we can go even half of that, if we can get even half of that covered, we are sitting in a sweet spot, my gang. So I want to tell you there are some absolute truths because there's lots of different ways to grow teams. You can grow really big teams that you're super, super disconnected with. They're just kind of cog in the wheel. Dare I say something so aggressive? Maybe you're going to have a team that's super intimate and everybody's well connected and that you are soul brothers and sisters, right? Whatever that may be, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. But I believe that regardless of if you go big or small, or if you go intimate or disconnected, there are some truths that you should not miss out on. So if you're taking notes, this would be a time to grab that pen and that paper, because here we go. Number one, lesson, don't be a dummy. There is one thing to get right, and that's your foundation. The question should be, Eric, what is the foundation you're talking about? And I want to be crystal clear with you that the foundation of a real estate team is your personal production. You as the rainmaker, you as the CEO, you as the team captain, owner, leader, whatever it may be, your personal production is the most important thing that you build upon. It provides you with money. And I got to be clear on this. Money is like oxygen. You need it to breathe. You need it to function, but it's not the purpose of what we do. The purpose is far greater than that. People don't wake up hoping that they can breathe. I mean, unless you're sick, right? Or unless you're underwater. If your business is sick or underwater right now, the only thing that matters is breathing. But once you get a great amount of breath in your air, you got to know where you're swimming to. And I think that most real estate people, most real estate leaders are swimming towards more money, more time, and a life of impact and influence. And so if that's what you're swimming for, that's great. But I want to share with you this thought. Right? You have to build the foundation right first. And the foundation is your personal production. That personal production should have an army of talent and people and leverage built around that. The biggest mistake I see people make when they start a real estate team is this. They say, I'm pretty good at sales. I'm the owner. I'm the CEO. I'm the top salesperson. I'm pretty good at sales. What if I had more of me? Right? What if I have 5 quality at bats, 5 great agents, or 5 great leads that I know are all going to close. And it's like $10,000 commission per deal, right? The average commission in the United States, as I make this today, is about $10,000. So let's say I hire an agent and that agent is going to work for a 50-50 split. Now, there's all different kinds of splits in here. I'm not endorsing any of them, but just for simple math, I'm going to say it's a 50-50 split. So the company's going to make $5,000. And guess what? I'm the company. That's all my money. That's my money, baby. I'm going to make $5,000. And the agent who I hire is going to make $5,000. And so I'm just going to give them 5 quality at-bats. And guess what? In $50,000, I'm going to make $25,000 and they're going to make $25,000. And then I just need to hire 40 agents like that and I'm going to be a millionaire. See, that's what most people think. But the problem is that newer agent that you've hired on your team doesn't have the sharp sword like you do. They don't have the experience or the perspective or the at-bats or the savvy or the networking or this. I mean, all those things are just missed. Not because they don't have capacity, but because they're newer and because they haven't been around the block a few times like you have. And so if you give them 5 quality at-bats, they're not going to close 4 and they're not going to close 3. They're maybe going to close 2, but if I put down one more finger, guess which one is remaining? Because you think you're going to be giving yourself a chance to make great money. And I get that. But realistically, if they close 2 of those 5, they make $10,000 and you make $10,000. And that's a crummy career for both of you. It's bad money for you. It's inconsistent, hard, bad money for them. And so you're like, Eric, how am I ever going to hire agents? Well, we got to stop thinking about hiring agents. We have to start thinking about building around your production because you can close all 5 of those. You can close those and that's worth $50,000. So do you want $10,000 or do you want $50,000? I choose 50. I choose $50,000 every time because $50,000 should make you a ton of cash. So how do we make sure that you go from $50,000 to $550,000? And if that's the path, we're going to build that foundation right the first time. And here's how it looks. This comes to us, this image comes to us from a book that I wrote with my partner, Robbie T. It's called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint. You're the rainmaker agent, and you need to make these 3 hires as you grow your team. The first hire you make is the admin. That is a full-time in-office admin. They're doing your transaction coordinating and your listing coordinating and some of your client communications. And they're bringing your dog to the vet, and they're getting a gift for your spouse, and they're picking up your dry cleaning, and they're doing all these things to help you to leverage your time. When you have that person, you can use the time that they get back for you either for luxury, which means you don't work any harder, or you use it for leverage, meaning you're putting that time back into higher dollar income producing activities. That's lead generation, that's converting more deals, and there's huge wins that happen with that. But this first admin is a full-time in-office admin. The second admin professional can be in office, but I'd highly, highly, highly encourage you to consider a VA, a virtual assistant. That VA, that virtual assistant, you can get for a lower price, and you can get them full time, because I want to protect your cash. I want you to earn a bunch. I love people in office. I think it brings a great amount of rhythm, but there is something to be said about finding a great VA. I'm not endorsing one over the other, but I do know that one is more cost effective, and one, the one that's more cost effective also takes more time. So you have to leverage that out, of course, because everything costs you, right? It costs you time or it costs you money, but which is it going to cost you? So that second admin is going to help you to grow. First one helps you to breathe. Second one helps you to grow. And when you choose that growth, oh my gosh, guess what? You start getting more at bats from your clients. You start engaging your community and your database a lot more. You're now doing those things that were originally on your honey-do list that you just didn't have time to get to. This is when dreaming starts to take action, and it's a great spot to be. And so let's say you were selling 30 homes a year prior to that first admin. That first admin is going to help you to sell an extra 15 to 20 homes in a year. So now you're at 45. Let's round up to 50. Now you're at 50. Well, you bring on that VA. That VA is going to help you to get to 60 or 65 or 70 deals. So at 65 deals a year, at $10,000 of commission, that's $650,000 in commission top line. Take away expenses and brokerage fees and admin costs and everything else, and you should be making that 550 I talked about. Maybe you're making 500 or 400. I don't know what your expenses are, but that's such a huge life. But the problem with that life, gang, is that you are working a lot. I think that's a 60 or 70 hour a week job. If you're doing 65 deals a year with administrative support, I think that's a 60 to 70 hour a week job. And so there's got to be a hire that can help you to get to 40 or less. And that hire is an agent partner. It says showing partner here. I even need to update that. It should say agent partner, because they're going to help you on the listing side and the buy side. This is a nurse to your doctor. This is a licensed partner who is also salaried and earning a little commission on top of that. This person is going to help you to close an extra 15 or 20 deals and get more time back in your life. They are doing your showings on nights and weekends. They're doing the majority of your client communications and setting up drip campaigns and arranging for showings and going on inspections and doing all those things that can be so cumbersome of your time and your schedule. And so if you get this right, gang, all of a sudden now you're selling 80 to 85 houses. And even after all your expenses, I think we now got you a 40-hour a week job, career, 40 hours a week, and it's going to make you $500,000 if your average commission is 10,000. I mean, we could stop right there, because most people should stop. Most people should say, I don't need to do anything more than that. There are 1.5 million realtors in the United States. Of that, I've heard that there's 35 to 40,000 teams. How many of those teams do you think make more than $500,000 a year? Not as many as you think. I see all y'all's P&Ls, and I know the truth behind it. And I know for certain that most teams, like 95% of teams, aren't making $500,000 or more. And they're sacrificing and they're risking. And you could just choose to keep it simple. And if you choose to keep it simple, there's huge, huge cash. Okay, do you know that at 40 hours a week. That's a 2,000 hour work week or work year. And if you make $500,000, that's $250 an hour. That is not bad cash. That's not bad at all. I teach all this and more. And by the way, I took that picture earlier today. That's why the outfit is the same. You see the fit still matches the picture, but we updated it here. So if you're interested and want a free copy of my book, you're just going to pay shipping and handling. Follow the instructions on the screen. Hit me up on the Instagrams, and we will get you a free copy of the book. You, again, just pay shipping and handling. This book is fundamental and foundational in so many people's lives, and I am excited to get it into your hands. Okay. I said there's 10 things, though, and we're only one of the 10 done. By the way, I took that picture yesterday at the gym working with my resistance band. I hope you understand that. Now, that nice young lady is holding a resistance band. I don't mean to brag, but last year at the gym, I snapped a resistance band. I snapped it. And gang, do you understand how you actually snap a resistance band? You're either so unbelievably strong or there's a tiny little tear in it. And although I'd like to believe that I'm so unbelievably strong, I think there's a tear in that band. I do. I think that the band had a tear in it. And that tear is like your profitability in most people's businesses. Most people say, well, once I add 5 more agents and once I sell 30 more homes and once I, and what happens is you think that you're going to all of a sudden change your math trajectory and change your profitability when you just add more. More mediocrity does not change your future. And if you have a business that's currently like this, imagine a rubber band. Okay. Imagine that there's no nicks and tears in that rubber band. You can actually stretch it and grow and nothing's going to break. But what happens if there's that tiny little nick in that exercise band or that rubber band? Well, once you start to stretch it, once you start to scale it, the likelihood of it snapping is that much greater. And so you have to think really cognizantly about the danger that exists in trying to scale your way to the top. It is financially irresponsible. It is structurally irresponsible. It is setting you up for massive, massive pain. So if the math doesn't math, scale won't fix your bad margins. This again comes from the Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint. COGS, at the very top of the page here, we have COGS. That's cost of goods sold. These are the commissions that you are paying to agents on your team that sell. Now, if you're in production, and most are, you should also be paying yourself a commission. I'm not endorsing one commission over the other, but I am telling you that new agents shouldn't get paid the same as experienced agents. And I don't think you need to pay an arm and a leg if you're delivering great value in leadership. Now, I want to be clear as well as we want to pay agents as much as possible, but if we aren't making money, that's a really bad partnership. And most people are doing their P&Ls wrong. Most people are doing their cost of goods wrong. And it is a dangerous spot to be. MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book written by Gary Keller 20 plus years ago, recommended that COGS be 30%. That was 20% for listings and 40% for buyers. That's a really crazy low number. I don't know of many people that would love to work on a real estate team if they got paid that amount, unless all the deals came from the team. And so you have to take a look to try to figure out what your cost of goods is. And in this example, I'm simply creating an average that says 40%. Now, the second place to look at are expenses, and there's 3 categories as you see listed below. There's overhead, there's lead generation / marketing, and there's salaries and benefits. You can always make more money by either selling more, spending less, or finding efficiencies. And these spots here that I have highlighted, overhead, lead gen, and salaries, these are places that you could choose to spend less. And so do you know your percentages? Do you know how your business is operating? Because if you don't, you're in pretty much really big trouble. The final spot that we want to take a look at here is profit. And what profit margin do you want? By the way, you should be paying yourself as CEO, you should be paying yourself a salary. Because if you're gone tomorrow, how much is someone going to have to make in order to actually take over that role of running the team? Now, I don't think most people are running a team as a full-time job. I think it's a part-time job. and you're in production and you're doing other things. But you have to figure out, if I'm gone tomorrow, what is this position actually worth? At Hatch Realty, we employ a full-time president, and her salary is because her job is to be full-time, all in on running the team and making sure other people find their success. But as we look at this, now you're paying yourself a salary. Now you're paying yourself commission. And then you have to figure out what profit margin you have. If you don't have a profit margin of 15, 20, or 25% or higher, better get that figured out before you try to scale, because otherwise you're going to snap that band. Okay, we were 2 down. We got 8 more to go. Number 3, these are huge, huge, huge mistakes. I stole this from my guy. His name is Chris Stewart. Chris serves as the president of Place. Place is like a team for real estate teams, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. Chris told me last summer, he said, you overestimate how much others know, and you underestimate how much you know. And I felt that in my bones. Not because I've hired people that are ignorant or dumb or anything else. They're just newer, and they haven't seen what I've seen, and they haven't touched what I've touched, and they haven't smelt what I've smelt. And so they lack some perspective. And I've been around the block, as I said a few times. And so I have some solid perspective. And so I can't underestimate how much I know. And I tend to overestimate how much they know. I just kind of let them to it. And so there's 2 things I need you to take note of. The first is how to train an onboard. I'm going to use the analogy of a teenage driver. Imagine you have a 14-year-old, and that 14-year-old is getting ready to drive. They've watched you drive, or they've seen you drive for the last 14 years, but have they really been paying attention to the turn signals and the speeds and the merging and all the things around? Well, when they're getting close to getting their driver's permit, you know that 14-year-old is now finally watching and paying attention. They're not just seeing casually what's going on. They're watching and paying attention. And with new agents and new administrative hires, you're doing the same thing. They're watching you intently. They're asking a bunch of questions, and you're explaining to them, this is what I do, and this is why I do it. And this is, here we are. Now, here's what most people do when it comes to real estate agents, is they have them shadow you like you're a new server at Applebee's, following you around. They are shadowing you. And then you're like, you got it? And they're like, yeah, I got it. And you throw them to the wolves, and you simply skip the watch you portion in the middle, and you simply go down to go and do. Would you do that with a teenage driver? Hey, you've watched me and you've paid attention to me driving now for the last few weeks or months. Here, take the keys. Take them. You take the car. You're good. Just pick up and go. I don't even need to watch. You got it. I know you can do it because you've been watching me. Or on the golf course, imagine I follow Tiger Woods around for the weekend, and then he's like, okay, you're on the PGA Tour now. You're good. I'm like, bro, you didn't watch me swing. You didn't work on my stuff. You didn't figure out my nuances and my blind spots and all these other things. Like, no, you're good. Like, that's what people are doing with their agents, yo. That's what people are doing with their admin, is you're just throwing them to the wolves, and you're skipping this second step. Second step is everything. The watch you portion is everything. This is where the power is. This is where the impact comes. You can't leave this seat too quickly. You got to sit with them and help them to be great. If you want a real estate team that really works, it means that you are having to literally put on a new hat. And as you put on that new hat, what you're doing is you're declaring, this is leader me. You're still producer you. You're still husband or wife you, and mom and dad you, and you're still a friend you. But you got to put on that leader hat, and you have to live in that area that you haven't ever lived before. This is a brand new job when you take on a team. In addition to that, you have to master a daily schedule before you can ever cut anybody loose. The most important one on top, I think, is the role playing and training. And we do the most important things in our day first. We make sure that we're doing this together in cadence and alignment with our agents. And hear this very, very clearly, and you should probably write this down. Until your agents show mastery, they need to follow your blueprint. Until your agents show mastery, they need to follow your blueprint. Everything is earned and nothing is given. And they have to earn the right to say, hey, I want to do lead generation this way and I want to role play this way. They have to earn that right. But until that point, they need to follow a blueprint like I'm presenting to you right here. Okay. A third of the way done. Number 4, only build a team that you're proud to be an agent on. This should have been the first one. I should have gone back and edited it. That's fun to say. I should have gone back and adjusted, and I didn't. Maybe it's a cliffhanger of a sort, but like, would you really, if you're an agent coming to the business, would you be proud to work on your team? Would you look around and say, these guys are doing everything within their power to help me to win? Or are you hoping they figure it out? Let's go back. Let's go back in time to when Eric started his real estate team. It was 2012. 2011, I went full time into the business, sold 52 houses my first year. And so I, as a Keller Williams agent, did what every Keller Williams agent does. And that is, let's start a team. It was the book that was literally written by the owner and the CEO. And so it made great sense that I needed to start a real estate team. And I did. I found 3 agents within the first month that said yes to being on a team. Not because they were the right fit for me, but because they raised their hands and they said yes. And then I bought a bunch of internet leads that I had never converted before, and I threw it to them. And I did a role-playing demonstration for them once a week. And then I told them casually, hey, do this. And then I sat back waiting to count my money. I'm going to make so much money. Well, I sold 113 houses that first year. My team, which was a team of 13 by the end of the year, I had 10 agents and I had 3 admin. The other 9 agents besides me had sold a total of like 75 houses, and I sold 113. So they averaged like 10 houses per agent. That sucked. They deserve better than that. And the reason why they failed is because I failed them. I didn't hire the right people, not because they're bad, but because they just didn't, like, we didn't have a cadence. We didn't have a group camaraderie. They were looking for a hand out. And sometimes you want to have people have a hand up. Like, there's all those different things. And so I failed them. I then had a chance to rebuild. And when I rebuilt, I made it so I'm like, what kind of team would I want to be on? What is the thing? And so I went with a pay, give, hold strategy that's been really good for me. Got to pay your agents as much as possible. Of course, new agents shouldn't make as much as seasoned agents, and everything is earned, nothing is given. So we have to crescendo that up. But I want them to make a ton. If they came to me and said, Eric, I want to make 100% commission, my answer is not no. My answer is yes, I want that for you too. Let's build a roadmap on how to get there. The second is I need to give. I need to give as much of my time as possible. In fact, as you looked at that schedule that I had put up a couple of slides ago, my schedule was very much focused on making sure that I was with them and training them before I ever started my day on my own production. My production came second. My team always came first. Finally, C is to hold your people accountable to their goals, not yours, but to their goals, and to do it often. So are you as a team leader going to be a silent leader, hoping that they find their way? Hope is a great thing to have, but it's a terrible business strategy. So that means you shan't not be silent. You are an active coach, consistently helping them to adjust their habits so that they can reach their goals. Number 5, smart work is greater than hard work. This one might be my favorite in this whole kit and caboodle here. Smart work is greater than hard work. I need you to draw this out. I stole this from Sharon Srivatsa, who is the president of Real Brokerage, the place where I'm privileged to work and align my business with. Sharon shared this on stage a couple of months ago, and I've gone on to study this and take a look at it. So simply draw a triangle, and you're going to put skills, effort, and opportunity on the 3 sides. Skills, effort, opportunity. When you meet with an agent, I would put that in front of them. And I would say, okay, Dave, why aren't you at your goals? Why haven't you reached your goals for this year? Which is it? Is it skills? Is it effort? Or is it opportunity? And most of the time, if an agent is really honest, it's all three. But let's break that down, okay? Because opportunity are at bats. It's your database, it's your marketing. Opportunity can be created. I hate when people put a massive amount of blame on a lack of opportunity. I think it's an irresponsible kind of mindset. Those that take all of the responsibility and give all the credit are the kinds of folks that I want to hang around with. And so, as we talk about that triangle of skill, effort, and opportunity, and you ask an agent, what's the reason why you haven't reached your goals? Or what's the reason why you're falling behind? It's either skill or effort. We as team leaders, I think that early on, team leaders look at effort, and you measure effort as the guidepost of if someone's going to be successful. Just want you to imagine, you are in San Francisco and you decide to take a little dip outside of town to go to the redwood forest. My wife was just there. Sent me pictures of her with these 500-year-old trees. My wife is 5'10" and she looks like an itty bitty teeny weeny person next to those trees. They're huge. They're massive. And that's what real estate is for a new agent, is they just see these massive trees and they're like, oh my gosh, how in the world am I ever going to chop this down? How am I ever going to get a sale? It's harder out there than it has been in the last 30 plus years, and interest rates and economy and uncertainty and they're going to have all these reasons, right? Their first sale, their 10th sale, it's a redwood for them. So what matters more? We think it's effort. We think, hey, you got to swing more. You got to swing that axe more, swing it and swing it and swing it and swing it. So we tell them you need to lead generate for 2 hours a day. And we tell them that you gotta make all your texts and all your phone calls, and you gotta. But what if that agent spent an hour a day sharpening their axe? What changes when that axe all of a sudden becomes razor sharp? The likelihood of them chopping down the redwood goes from weeks and months to days and hours and minutes, because now they're swinging an axe that is sharper and more impactful than anybody else's axe. See, I named this and dubbed this smart work is greater than hard work, because I think that oftentimes we as team leaders are putting the emphasis on the hard work and the habits, and those matter. I am not declaring that those don't matter, but what I am declaring is that we need to put a higher emphasis on sharpening our axe. Bruce Lee says, I don't fear a man who's practiced 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. It's a sharp axe that matters. It is a really, really honed in, sharp skill set, so that when someone actually does pick up the phone or they do find themselves in a real estate conversation, they know how to navigate through it with such a savviness that it's unparalleled. And so the question is, do you have a plan to keep those skills sharp for people? Here's the plan, gang. I stole this from Ben Kinney, who is the CEO and co-founder of Place. He says to operate like a good farmer, you have to have a plan for the following: to plow, to plant, to water, and to harvest. You want to figure out how you sharpen your axe and what you sharpen it for? Plowing the field is like growing your database. We're just talking lead generation here. You can use this for a bunch of things, and I'll show you in a moment. But let's talk lead generation and getting clients, okay? Plowing the field is adding to your database. What's the point of buying 100 leads, 1,000 leads, 10,000 leads, a bajillion leads if your agents don't know how to have the conversation? But you have to have a plan to make sure that there's a constant flow of leads coming through. That's plowing the field. Planting the seeds are now finding yourself engaging in real estate conversations. It's maybe not even going to the appointment yet. It's just making the person feel like you're not being super salesy, and that you're transactionalizing them, and that you're just using AI to stay in contact. Like, you got to increase your skill set on that. Let me give you a really great example of planting the seed. Zillow has gone forward with a bunch of go shows. It used to be that it would be encouraged to have consultations and conversations before you ever showed a house to someone. And Zillow changed that. The recent NAR changes are now bringing it back to the old days where you should be having a really good strategy session and consultation with somebody before you ever show a house. But if you did happen to show that house, how do you keep that person coming back to you? Right? They can just go to Zillow and buzz the next realtor if that's what they choose. And so we now coach people on doing the 2x7 strategy. That's 2 customized text messages a day for 7 straight days. Should write it down because it's really good. It works like this. After that go show, remember, we're talking about we're talking about planting the seeds here. After that go show, what you're going to do is you're going to find yourself texting that person twice a day, not drip campaigns, not MLS links, but instead screenshots that give a little taste. A great drug dealer, I've never done drugs before, but follow along with me anyways. I've seen enough movies. A great drug dealer gives a little taste, leaves them wanting more. And so maybe the first text message that you send says, hey, I just saw this house hit the market. Take a look at this kitchen. What do you think? And then the next one that you send later in the day says, I know you said you wanted a big backyard. I found this one in a listing nearby. Interested? And then the next one you say is, hey, I have a property that's just a little bit outside of your search criteria. Is that something you want to see? So you're giving just a little taste and you're incentivizing them to have a conversation with you. Again, the purpose is to plant the seed. And we're going to have a plan for that. We're going to have a really sharp axe for that. Then you have to water the crop. That means that you have to be in such great relationship with this person that you're helping them to get what they want. That leads to harvest, which is the actual sale of a property. And so you better be developing a massive skill set for all of these things. You got to sharpen your axe. Your effort matters, no doubt. Hard work still matters. It says right here to work hard and to be kind, but it doesn't say to kill yourself. It doesn't say to lose yourself to the business, but it does say to work hard. In fact, I would say work hard and smart. That's how you're going to win with your team. I have but 4 more left, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're almost there. I'm going to speed this up now because number 7 has massive importance and I'm not going to breeze over it, but I am going to be intense with it. Is you need to know your time and money strategy. It's the thing that people want on and from a real estate team. If they're signing up for it, they want to know time and money, and you need to know time and money. I know someone who has started a real estate team recently and is giving an irresponsible split to his agents. They're winning on a big account, and that's good for them. Like they sign up for that all day long. But this guy, as the team leader, is sacrificing everything. He's funding his team from his own personal production. He's literally losing because he's chasing after a false idol, and that is transaction count and the stat of being number 1. And I used to be that. And it was really difficult because I didn't understand the time and money continuum. I didn't understand where my money needs to go. I didn't understand where my time needs to go. And I didn't understand how it all cycles back once again. Let me show you. If you want more money, you first have to give time. Right? You're going to have to work a lot of hours. You're going to have to work those 50, 60, 70-hour weeks in order to have more money. And that's how you get time, is you bring in leverage into your world. But you can't just take that leverage. You can't spend that money and not give it time first. The irony is you think you can hire someone like an agent, or you think you can hire someone like an admin, and they're going to all of a sudden fix your problem. Like once you spend the money, you think you get the time back, but you actually have to spend more time before you get money out of it. That investment of time and money is going to cost you before it helps you. If you hire agents and you pay them too much, what you're choosing to say is, I'm not going to give you any of my time. But then you do. It's why commission splits are lower for agents on teams, is because you're giving them time. You're risking, you're giving them all these resources. And you have to understand that this time money continuum is something that is going to take more time and cost more money before it ever turns into a positive ROI for you. It is a lot in before it's any out. Number 8, if you are starting a real estate team, you need to know that it is challenging. It is really challenging until it's not. It is nights and weekends and stress and all of that. But what happens is one day something might click. That one day maybe isn't today and maybe isn't for years and years. But I know I started my team in 2012, 2013, 2014 were all really hard years. 2015, in my 4th year in, all of a sudden I started really having fun. We had found a sweet spot and a rhythm. I had some swagger in my step. Things were in place. And let me tell you that this doesn't just happen. It happens when you do the last 8 steps, that you build a team that you're really proud to be on if you were an agent, and you pay your people as much as humanly possible, and you give your time consistently and regularly to sharpening your swords, and you're making sure that you're consistently planting and watering and harvesting and plowing and doing all the things that you need to do. You keep your numbers in place so that you have enough oxygen. All these things will magically, all of a sudden, when you do them, have things fall into place. And I don't know when that day is, but I hope you send me a message or give me a call. Be like, yo, Eric, it all of a sudden clicked. But as I told you in the very beginning, most people shouldn't have a real estate team. If you're going to, you should probably have the micro team. The micro team is you and a couple of admin and a showing partner, an agent partner. You can even add on some extra leverage pieces from there, but it should be around your production. That micro team is just around your production. Some people have deviated from this model and you have 5 agents and you call yourself a micro team. But realistically, if I studied your business, I would show you that you're losing money and spending too much time. That's not a great business. So you're like, well, then I'm going to have a medium team. Let me tell you this, is that the hardest of all of these teams is a medium team. You lose 2 people and your whole world is shaken. Somebody goes on maternity leave and oh crap, that creates a lot of wild times. You have all these pressures on your business that if 1 or 2 things fault, you are in so much trouble. You're in a constant state of like stress and anxiety because 1 or 2 things go wrong and you're again in Barney Rubble trouble. It's a tough spot to be. But it's also when you're the most intimately connected with your team. It's when you're like vibing and you feel really great about it. Mega, now all of a sudden you can afford to lose a couple of people, but you're also not as connected to your team. You know them by name and you know their story, but you don't know their heartbeat. And if you do, that means you have a bottleneck because you can't know the heartbeat of 15 or 20 people. You can know the heartbeat of like 5 or 6 because Jesus had 12 disciples and y'all ain't Jesus. So you can probably have 5 or 6 people you're deeply connected with. So medium's really hard. Mega takes risk and systems and years and years and years of time before it ever makes you money back. But micro, man, you can make a lot of money and have a lot of peace in a micro team. Finally, number 10. By the way, don't go anywhere because as soon as I finish up with number 10, I have an invitation for you that you would be silly to ignore. It's like the best thing we're doing right now. And I want to make sure I get it in front of you before it is too late. So don't pass up on this opportunity. But I will tell you, you're foolish to go it alone. I have my buddy. His name is Jordan Terrell. Jordan runs a real estate team in Denver, Colorado. They're the number 1 team in all of Colorado. That's a big deal. Jordan, years ago, he's been in real estate about 7 years. Before he ever got started, he said, you know what? I'm going to hire an admin and I'm going to hire a coach. And he had sold 0 houses. Like I've never heard of anybody doing that but Jordan. But I am like, dude, why are you choosing to do that? And he said, well, if I ever wanted to open up a coffee shop, I'd have to probably take out a loan for $500,000 to buy the real estate, to buy the furnishings, to buy the operating systems, to buy the coffee makers, to employ staff, to do marketing, to put up signage, to do all these things is going to cost me about $500,000 just so I can try to sell 1 cup of overpriced hot bean water. $6 a cup. How many $6 cups do you have to sell in order to even get back to breathing, right? A restaurant business or a coffee shop is void of oxygen, and it's void of money for a very long time. And so his idea was, well, listen, in real estate, I know if I get 1 or 2 sales, it's going to wipe away all my debt and then some. And so I want to get really serious with this right away. So Jordan hired an admin and he hired a coach before he ever had sold a house. Fast forward 7 years, and Jordan's real estate team will bring a top line revenue of $7 million to the plate this year. From $0 to $7 million in GCI in a 7-year period is almost unheard of in this industry. And it happened because Jordan said, you know what, I'm going to coach. I'm going to get coached. In fact, Jordan is going to be at my event that's coming up here very soon. Guy has it figured out, right? I think if you're trying to go this alone, if you think that attending a webinar or watching it on YouTube is going to like get this figured out, that's teaching. Like everything I've done here for the last 15 minutes is teaching. It's a one-to-many approach. If you want to win on this, it's got to be one-to-one. Just like with your agents, if you want to win, it has to be one-to-one, not one-to-many. There has to be that relationship. There has to be that rapport. That has to be that personal accountability. And most of you need help. Why? Because I need help. I have 3 coaches right now that I lean on and go to for guidance and help and support and to get here. And so one of the greatest ways that you can accelerate that is by coming into community with people. You're going to be blown away. Jordan and I are going to be here, as well as Tim and Noel, my other co-hosts. And we're doing an event that is like the height and the pinnacle of super awesome real estate growth and connection, designed solely for team leaders. So if you're aspirationally a team leader or you're in it right now, you better attend this event. So take a moment and scan this QR code. If you are on your phone right now and you don't have a QR code that you can scan, I want you to go to teamleaderroundtable.com. Teamleaderroundtable.com. Use this promo code to save 50%. Dang, that's it. If you're going to rock and roll with a real estate team, better get some help. But the 9 other steps on there are must-dos for you at all given time. So on behalf of myself, Eric Hatch, on behalf of the people that I get to serve, God bless you. Much love, and we'll catch you next time on the Flippity Flip.